step out of the blue, out of the blue, out of the blue, out of the blue. You step out of the blue. Forgive me if I'm just a little bit starstruck. Oh, yes, I am. But see, we walk into a room and people are awestruck. Oh, yes, they are. Well, forgive me if I sound kind of person, but what can they do? Into their world came you. Oakland Mill story now from out west, okay? How am I doing time, I think? Oh, good, okay, so listen. So I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico, right? And I just did a reading on radio, public radio for National Public Radio, okay? So this guy hears me on the radio, he's driving, and I'm at this place called the Santa Fe Baking Company, okay? That's on Canyon Road in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So anyway, he comes back to this place, and he waits until I go off the air, and he says to me, Mr. Wesley, listen, I so enjoyed your poetry because I was reading from one of my books then and something like that. But anyway, he said, I enjoyed it so much, I'm going out today to visit some a place called the Desert Academy and a place for seniors. He had started a program called the Alzheimer's Poetry Project. And Alzheimer's, for most of you may know that, for people who have cognitive issues, some seniors, but some young folks too. But anyway, so I said, yeah, I'll go with it. Okay, so I go to this school that's called the Desert Academy, and I read from the book, and then I ask the questions. So when I ask the questions, a lady in the back of the room says, so what do they ever do at Glendale Park, and what about the mall? Is the mall still open? Listen, some of you may not know, but I'll share this with you. My former fiancée, Sarah Miller Clark, was killed in the plane that crashed into the Pentagon on 9/11. She was a middle school teacher from Columbia, who lived on Thunder Hill, and she had one of her students with her, an 11-year-old, Asia Carter, and both of them were killed in the plane that crashed into the Pentagon. It was that experience that took me back to my music as a healing process for myself. I had not intended to be doing as much as I'm doing with it, but I started just as a part of the healing, as I said, with a Casio and a karaoke machine, and at one song, I had 2 songs, and 3 songs, 4 songs, and but when I knew anything, I had all of this music. Now, I did my first CD in 2010, and I was able to do the CD, and it premiered in 7 countries, because all of the music was original music, okay? And it could be played. And then what happened was that it was kind of likened to some of the other stuff that they were hearing, and as a result, people started playing it around the world. But anyway, one of the songs that I did after that experience, one of the first songs, and the first songs on my CD is a song called "In My Arms Tonight." So I want to play that song for you. That is from my from my first CD, and it's called "In My Arms." Gotta get stuff together. I'm wiggling the wrong knobs. Okay. I'm so glad to have you in my arms tonight. The angels will surround you in my arms tonight. So if I hold you a little tighter and kiss you a little longer, it's not a dream. Things are what they seem tonight. I'm so glad to have you in my arms tonight. No star could be brighter than your eyes tonight. So if I lose my concentration, it's not just your imagination. I'm just that glad you're in my arms tonight. waiting just for this moment so long. If I'm overly romantic, that's no reason to panic. I'm just that glad. I'm just that glad. I'm just that glad you're in my arms tonight. Thank you. Okay, will you take some questions? Okay, questions.
Last group of people, they were almost all musicians. They asked a lot of questions about music, and I know a lot of you are too. But this group is mostly comprised of our social studies and English classes, and all of Mr. Gross's students. So if you have any questions about history, one thing you didn't tell a story about was how you grew up across the street.
Oh yeah. How many of you saw the story?
Wait, you walk away from your mic.
Oh yeah.
So I'll let him tell the story, but
okay.
it's good.
How many of you saw the PBS piece on Emmett Till, Fannie Lou Hamer last week? Anybody see that? Okay, so how many of you remember the story of Emmett Till, the 14-year-old black kid, Mississippi? And the people who killed him, the Milam brothers, Roy Bryant? Well, I grew up across the street from them in Louisville, Mississippi. After they killed Emmett, they were run out of Money, Mississippi, which is where they killed Emmett. And what the Milam brothers did across the state of Mississippi was that they ran general stores all over. There were about 8 or 9 brothers. But anyway, there was a store on the corner from my house that was about, I guess, from here, from the front of, well, the distance from your school to your parking lot was from my house, was where I lived from the guys who killed Emmett Till. I knew them before they killed Emmett Till because when we picked cotton and chopped cotton, they were our straw bosses in the field. So they told us when to sharpen our hoes, and when we picked cotton all day, you'd weigh up your first sack about, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, and they would write your name down and how much cotton you had in the sack, and we were only getting like $2.50 for 100 pounds of cotton. So, now check this out. We were getting $2.50 for 100 pounds of cotton, right? It took to make 1 pound of cotton 70 bowls, okay? So to make 100 pounds of cotton, 7 times 100 is what? Okay, so it took me 700 bowls to make 100 pounds, and I would try to do 100 pounds a day, okay? But now my godmother, Miss Fannie Lou, she could do 300 pounds a day. I never got that high, okay? But I could do 200. But yeah, I grew up, and Fannie Lou Hamer was my godmother. Mrs. Hamer and my grandmother, well, first of all, we were sharecroppers, which means that we farmed cotton on land that was owned by someone else, okay? And we shared the profit. Mrs. Hamer, her husband's name was Henry Pap Hamer. Mr. Hamer, Pap, Miss Fannie Lou, my grandmother, Sarah Sanders, and Will Sanders worked together sharecropping. My grandmother and Mrs. Hamer worked for the rich white families and barbecued for the governor and the senators and all that. So Senator Stevenson and Senator Eastman, Senator Stennis, get his name right, those are the people that they served. And we used to barbecue goats and hogs for them every holiday. And I get a chance to see them and spend time around all these people. Now, keep in mind, the other thing, we had a simple phone. Our phone number was 4356. John Stennis, the senator's number was 4355. So I could go on the phone and pick up the phone. We had a party line. I could go and listen on that call, until my grandmother called me, made me stop. But the whole idea is that I grew up in Mississippi during this time, during the Civil Rights Movement. So, any quick questions on the movement? I know you saw this. This is Miss Hamer right here. This is my godmother, okay? Fannie Lou Hamer. And amazing lady, as amazing lady. Used to cook me cook me a chocolate cake every year on my birthday. Okay? Anybody else got a question for me?
Good. Maybe a question? I'll come over.
How was it like to be segregated?
I can't hear you.
How was it like to be segregated?
I was a what now?
What was it like when places were segregating?
Oh, my. Well, it's simple things. I can give you some simple things. If you walked into a building and there were water fountains, there were two. There was a black water fountain and a white water fountain. You went to the black water fountain. You knew that. If you went to one of the things that I remember being from my childhood, the Greyhound bus station. You know, the Greyhound bus station there in my little hometown was the service station. So they stopped at the service station. There was a bathroom inside the building for for white folks. There was a outhouse out behind the building for black folks. I remember one day I had taken my aunt's luggage up to catch the bus, and I pulled it up on my wagon, and we got there, and the Willingham brothers, the bus driver said to the guy, "Did you put all the luggage on the bus?" And the guy said, "Yeah, I put all the luggage on the bus except that end's luggage. I didn't put hers in there." And I remember putting my aunt's luggage on the bus, and I remember going home, pulling my wagon, crying. So if you want to know what it felt like, yeah. And you know, it's funny, I had a funny incident with J.W. Myler, who really was the one behind killing him. So one day I'm in the store, and I'm getting cookies. And I get cookies out of the can, and I put them in a bag. And J.W. says to me, "How many cookies you got in that bag, Bubba?" And I said, "I got 4. He said, "No, I think you got 5. And he started from behind the counter like he was coming to, check my bag or something. And I was so frightened of this guy that I turned to run, and the door was open. And I went right into the door jam. It hit my nose, face, but I was getting out of that store and running home. And I ran home with my grandmother, my nose bleeding and all this. My grandmother seemed to come to the "Bubba, you okay? And here comes J.W. Myler running behind her. And he said, "Oh, Miss Sarah, I'm so sorry if I frightened him. I don't know why this kid is afraid of me." And I remember turning around looking at him thinking, my tears running up, and I thought, let me get this right. You killed my friend, and you got away with it, and you don't know why I'm afraid of you. Okay. Okay. So my whole mindset about, what was it like? We were in a crazy relationship because although you hear a lot about segregation, poor blacks and poor whites live together. Okay? So although you hear all the stuff about segregation, in fact, my next door neighbor, if you go on my Facebook page, John Milton Wesley, which you can pull up, you'll see a lady named Angie Shoemaker Dunn. Angie Shoemaker Dunn was my neighbor. She was white. I was black. And we used to practice music together until 1960. I went to New York, and when I came back, they didn't let us play together anymore. But anyway, anybody got another question? That was a great question, by the way. Thank you for that.
Was it hard to pick cotton?
Was it hard? You know what? Bless your heart. What's his name?
My name's Kevin.
Huh?
Kevin.
Kevin? Yeah. Okay, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, let me tell you something about that nobody talks about when they talk about picking cotton. Okay, listen. At the top of the cotton bolls, right, when they were defoliated and the sun would hit it, it comes to a point, like a needle point, and those needle points get hard. And when you go to pick that cotton, they stick in the top of your fingers, okay? And your fingers would be bloody. When you got home in the evening, the first thing you did was you wash your hands, you sat down with some alcohol, you put it on your fingers, and you took a needle and you burnt it with a match, and then you picked those points, those thorns, out of your hands. okay? And you did it every day. What was it like? Well, it was a little bit better picking, Kevin, than it was chopping. I tell you why. Because when we chopped, there was just open field, okay? And it was hot. There was nothing there. The great thing about picking was at least the cotton was ripe during the time when there were trees, so there was some leverage there. Now, there was picking, snapping, and pulling. When you pick cotton, you pick the cotton out of the bowl and you put it in your sack, okay? When you snap cotton, you put your fingers under the bowl and you pull the bowl and the cotton out and you put it in your sack. The bowls were used for fertilizer. When you pull cotton, now, when you pulled it, you pulled pod stalk, bowl, stem, all of it. And there was some cotton left on there, but that was pretty much used for fertilizer. But you got more money per hundred as the weight of the cotton was less. So for pulling cotton, you may get up to $4 a hundred. For snapping cotton, you may get $3 a hundred. But for picking cotton, you got $2.50 per 100 pounds. So that was all day long. Okay, we got 5 minutes. Okay. All right, so I'll tell you, any more questions about? Okay, all right. I'll take it.
Hi, I just shoot. Do you think we would have come this far when you were younger?
Beg pardon?
Do you think we would have come this far when you were younger?
When I was younger?
When you were younger, would
Oh,
your
yeah.
probably be...
You know what? What's your name?
Frankie?
Huh?
Frankie.
Fred?
Her name is Frankie, and she
Oh.
met her the other day before she went on to dominate the States in
Oh.
track.
Oh,
At her
yes,
cafeteria.
yes, okay. Frankie, let me tell you something. I had a dream when I was a little kid. I'm so glad this is it. I remember having a dream when I was a little kid. And I dreamed that I was a drum major, right? And that I was walking down the street and all of my friends were behind me and they were marching in order or something, you know? So when I began, my problem, Frankie, was that I was multi-talented. And, you know, people say you're jack of all trades and master none. Frankly, until I saw Michael Jackson, and I saw Michael perform, and I realized all the different things that Michael could do, because Michael didn't read music anyway. By the way, let me tell you, I don't read music, okay? I learned to play all of these instruments and write all the range of stuff on my own. I taught myself, with God's help, how to do it. Okay? So you can do it too, okay? You can do it too. I taught myself each instrument, how to play it, how to arrange it, anyway, etc. So my point is that, did I think I was going to make it? Yes, I did. I mean, when I talk about it's already done. I believe, Greg, and now this is a little kid's mindset. I took care of my grandmother when I was a kid, when I was a little boy. From the time that I was 7 years old, I gave her 80 cc's of insulin every morning before I went to the field. I cooked her breakfast and I cooked her lunch because I knew by dinner time I would be home. But she had to eat within 30 minutes of me giving her that 80 cc's of insulin. Now, in my little head, I believe that if I took care of my grandmother, that God would always take care of me. So I can say to you that did I think I was going to make it? Yes. Did I know I would be doing this? No. But I knew that I was going to make it because I knew that I had good intentions and that I believed that I was as good as any of the other little kids of any color that I saw. I just knew that my people had to get free.
over?
Okay, okay.
So, my name's Rohan. My question is, how did you go from sharecropping to, playing with Duke Ellington?
Because first of all, I started in my grandmother's living room, front room. We didn't have a front room with bed. But let me tell you, it's interesting. The week, how I got to Carnegie Hall, this is interesting. Let me tell you this is a real story about how I got to Carnegie Hall. So my grandmother says to me one day, Bubba, I want you to take $29 of your cotton picking money, and I want you to give it to Miss Saunders and get you a choir robe. Oh, Ma, I don't want to be in no choir. I want to run track. She said, boy, when you come on this evening, you better have a receipt from Miss Sanders for a choir robe. I Miss Sanders, my grandmama said. Her name was Sanders too. Mama said, give you $29 to give me a choir robe, and I want to join the choir. She said, oh yeah, that's good. Listen, I didn't see it, but my grandmother saw it. Okay, my grandmother saw it. The fact that 8 years later, I would be on stage at Carnegie Hall. How did I get there? I'd been in Memphis with Dr. King the week before for the garbage workers strike. Dr. King was killed in Memphis. I went to perform that Sunday. I was going on to tour. I was on tour. I was leaving Memphis, going to Connecticut, and then coming back to perform with Duke Ellington at Carnegie Hall. What happened was, we went on, we performed in Memphis for the garbage workers strike. We went on, we got to tour, we got back. I got back to Carnegie Hall, got back to New York about 2 o'clock that day. Duke came in. We had already practiced all the music and we rehearsed and all that. And Duke had just done a book of poetry, so I just won a National Writing Award. So we talked about that, and he talked about that. And then when they got ready to introduce the concert, the president of my college, Dr. Robert Moses, came out and said, I just want to announce that at 7:30 this evening, Dr. Martin Luther King was shot in Memphis. At 7:45, he died. I'm on stage with Duke Ellington, and my mind goes blank. Okay? I mean, what? He died? And everybody said, and what happened was that all 3 networks, we had 3 there, went live from Carnegie Hall. So that's how I got to Carnegie Hall, was just a concert with Duke Ellington, a man and his music, and we ended up dedicating the concert to Dr. King.
Thank you for being a wonderful audience. Go forth, make your own history. Woo!
Can you announce Jasmine Mendez for early dismissal?
Jasmine Mendez!
Wow, no, they're good here.
My grandma sings it. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Hey guys, I have no shoe bars.
Lost the shoe.
It's live on YouTube or Facebook?
Hopefully somewhere because I was on YouTube.